allow record, and yeah. Okay, I think you all should have that now. Do you see that?
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start. Hey guys, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Good. It's really great to be meeting with you guys, even though with everything that's been happening. And before we get started, I just want to ask that everyone who doesn't have one get out a pen and paper, because we're going to be having a activity later that will include that. And also something to keep in mind while you're getting that is you guys are 7th and 8th graders. So you're no longer college students, but 8th graders. And then once everyone has a pen and paper, would you guys be able to raise your hands? Okay, Kate, Claire, Mia, Richard, Brent. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Before we get into our group and start talking about the topic that we're talking about today, we don't know you guys yet, and we would actually like to get to know you a little bit more, get to know your names, some things that interest you. So we're going to start out with a little bit of a name game, and me, Serena, and Rachel are going to start to begin with, and you're going to share your name and an animal name that starts with the first of your name. And we're going to go around in like a circle. So for example, if I were to start, I would say Andrea Antelope. And then if Serena were to go next, she'd say my name, my animal name first, and then her name and her animal name, and so on. And so you have to remember the people's name and animal name before you, and then say yours. So I'm Andrea Antelope. And Serena, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm Serena Sloth. Oh, Andrea Antelope, Serena Sloth. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. Andrea Antelope, Serena Sloth, and Rachel Rhinoceros.
Okay, Callie Cheetah. Oh, wait. Okay, so Andrea Antelope, Serena Sloth, Rachel Rhinoceros, and Callie Cheetah.
No cheating.
All right, I guess I'll go. It was Andrea Antelope, right? And then Serena Sloth, and then Rachel Rhinoceros, Callie Cheetah, and then Richard Raccoon.
Nice. Who would like to go next?
I'll go. Okay, so it's Katie. Oh, sorry. Okay, hold up. So Andrea Antelope, Serena Sloth, Rachel Rhinoceros, whatever. Callie Cheetah, Richard Raccoon, and then I'm Katie the kangaroo.
Nice.
Go. Andrea Antelope, Serena Sloth, Rachel Rhinoceros. What was next? Oh, Callie Cheetah, Richard Raccoon, Katie Kangaroo, and Rent's Rattlesnake.
Ooh.
I'll go. Okay, so Andrea Antelope, Serena Sloth, Callie Cheetah, Rachel Rhinoceros. Wait, that was the right order, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then Richard Raccoon, Katie Kangaroo, and Rent's. I forgot what Rent said.
It's okay, Rent's help her out.
It's a rat.
Oh, Rattlesnake. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. Okay, and then I'll say Mia Moose.
Nice.
Oh, it's me?
Yes.
Andrea Antelope, Serena Sloth, Rachel Rhinoceros, Callie Cheetah, Richard Raccoon, Katie Kangaroo, Rent Rattlesnake, Mia Moose, and Claire Cat, because I can't think of anything else.
Wow, you did really good. You got everyone's. Good job, guys. That was great. it was really nice and getting to know you guys a little bit better. And we want to take a step further and not only get to know your guys' names, but also get to know like one fact about yourself. So this can be a hobby, be a favorite thing, a favorite food, a favorite animal, whatever you want to say. And let's see, I'll start. And I'll say that a fact about myself is that my favorite animal is a manatee.
I'll just do it when I can.
Serena, do you want to go next?
Oh yeah, sure. Are we just saying what is it? Are we sticking with our favorite animal or what?
So you guys can say your favorite animals, favorite hobby, just basically like anything that you feel like sharing with the group that shows a little bit more about who you are as a person.
Okay. My favorite animal is a frog.
Nice. And we can go in the same order that we used in the name game to make things a little bit easier.
Hopefully we remember the order. I did gymnastics for 4 years and I miss it.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Is it my turn? I'm learning how to skateboard.
Oh, cool.
I like otters.
You like what?
Otters.
Oh, otters are so cute.
Okay, my turn. So I really like Baymax. My favorite movie is Big Hero 6. So
That's a good movie. I like that movie too.
Oh wait, sorry.
I like photography because I like to take pictures.
I used to, when I was really little, do ballet and tap dancing, but I hated it. But now I think dancing, like any type of dancing, is really cool to watch.
I've sung in half of the states.
Wow. Well, those are all really cool facts, and it's really great getting to know each and every one of you a little bit more. And I hope is that we continue to meet, that we're able to get to know each other even better, the things that we love and the things that we're going through in life as well. And so before we get started with our session, with our topic, I want to discuss a little bit about what me, Rachel, and Serena's roles are as your guys' facilitators. And that is simply to guide the discussion in a constructive way so that we can all come to conclusions together, so that we can all grow together and have a safe environment where we feel like we can share our opinions and share what we think about the topic as well. And so we're not necessarily here to offer advice to you guys. However, we are here to aid you in becoming a little bit more self-aware, specifically about the topic which we are going to be talking about. And that is, we are going to be talking about labels. Now, labels have a very big impact on all of our everyday lives, especially because of the world that we live in. Labels can be good, but labels can also be can be bad. And unfortunately, some people are mislabeled. And so the purpose of our group sessions, and there's 2 sessions that we're is to gain a better understanding of what labels are, how they impact us, how they impact you as an individual. Maybe like what are some of the things that you've been labeled. Another thing we're going to be talking about is how to overcome false labels, how to work through that. And overall, I want to reach a point where we also feel more connected with each other and where we get to know each other a little bit better as well. And so before we get into the actual discussion portion of this discussion, I want to make sure a safe environment where everyone feels like they can share what they want to share without being judged by others. And so what are some rules that you think that can set for this time that we have together to make sure that we all feel safe?
Respect.
Respect, that's a good one.
I would say being aware of your own reactions when someone else is
Mm,
Listening when others are talking.
yeah, that's very important. And Callie mentioned respect. So what do you guys think that looks like in practical terms, showing respect to each other?
Letting people like finish their thought, not interrupting people, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like respecting other people's opinions, even if you don't agree with them.
That's a big one, right?
And I think I noticed Claire was talking, but I can't hear. I don't know if it's just me, but just letting you know.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can now, but
I
the
can
last
hear
couple
you.
times you talked, I didn't hear it.
That's fine. I was saying listening to understand instead of to reply.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Mia. All right. Well, I think that's a really great start to make sure that we respect each other, don't judge each other, and ultimately listen to like what the other person is saying, even though we may not necessarily agree with it, but respecting that that's their opinion and that's how they feel. And I think that's a really great start to creating a safe environment here. And so again, before we get started, I'm going to go a little bit into the agenda, how today is going to look. We've already discussed the roles and the purpose of this group. And after that, we're going to watch a little video here in a second. And after that video, we're going to have an open discussion about the chosen topic. And then we're also going to have an activity. So before we get any further, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a short film. And let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try to share my screen. Here we go. Share computer sound. It says that I need to install the there needs to be a password to share. Carissa, is she there? Let me text that to her.
Oh, there it goes. I see it.
You can see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But for the next contestant, the world of showbiz seems a million miles away.
It's Paul, a mobile phone salesman from South Wales.
By apps on mobile phones, my dream is to spend my life doing what I feel I was born to do.
Paul, what are you here for today, Paul?
To sing opera. I've always wanted this career. Confidence has always been sort of like a difficult thing for me. I've always found it a little bit difficult to be completely confident in myself.
Okay. Ready when you are.
Nessun dorma, mai mio mistero è chiuso in me. Il nome mio nessun saprà, il
All right. Okay. So as we could see, this is, I think it was like America's Got Talent is where this video came from. And so before I talk a little bit more about what that video means as opposed to this discussion or within this discussion, how do you guys think that that video relates to labels?
Well, I mean, probably the guy was seen as not really an opera singer. So people were labeling him as, oh, this guy can't sing or he can't do anything. So.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Is there anything else that people noticed?
I kind of just want to like go off of what Katie was saying, because I think a lot of times in America's Got Talent, people end up doing things that aren't expected based on how they look. Like people perceive them as something completely different, and then they end up like surprising them with whatever their act is. So a lot of time people have these like stereotypes about people and judge them before they really meet them or see what they have to offer.
And like going off of like what you guys are saying about that, like it was pretty evident. I don't know if you guys noticed the judges' faces, but it was very evident that when he walked on stage, they were like, I don't know if he's going to be so good. You could see they were like, weren't expecting a lot. And then all of a sudden he opened his mouth, and their idea of what he was going to sound like had all of a sudden changed. Their love of him had completely took a 180 the moment that he opened his mouth and began to sing. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Rachel, and she's going to talk to us more about what that means and what labels are. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so in the video, he mentioned that he said that he had struggled with self-confidence, I think, and I don't remember if he said what the reason was for that, but I, you know, as we started talking about labels, it's easy to just look at someone and then, you know, have this idea of what they might be like in our own heads. So what do labels mean to you guys?
Barriers.
That's a good one. Have any labels impacted your life personally? You can share if you feel comfortable sharing, but you don't have to.
For a lot of my life, I think that I've been labeled like bossy and like aggressive, and I'm not gonna lie, there probably was a point in my life when I was bossy and or aggressive, but I think that like labels oftentimes like keep us in that like same spot, I guess, like because everyone labeled me bossy and aggressive every time that I did anything in leadership, I thought I was just like being bossy and aggressive, like that I had that like consciousness all the time about like every single thing that I was doing, and I always like end up labeling myself as that as well.
Right, so I'm hearing that, you know, you took that really personally, and you kind of lived up to that label because that's what you've always heard about yourself. So thank you for sharing that. It seems like the impact of labels, you know, they can be both positive and negative, but what do we see more of? Like, do we see more positive labels or more negative labels? What do you guys think?
It's definitely more negative. I've been labeled a lot negatively. Yeah, whatever.
How does it feel when somebody labels you something negative?
Bad.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good, does it? I'm sorry, what was that?
Debilitating. Like you feel like you can't overcome it, so you just feel boxed into it.
Right. What do
I
you
feel
guys?
like oh, sorry.
Sorry.
That's okay. I feel like sometimes it can be like a challenge, or it can challenge you if people label you as something. Then you maybe want to like either prove them wrong or maybe live up to it if it's something good. But yeah, definitely if it's something bad, then it challenges you to disprove them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Anybody else? Okay, so when we get these negative labels and we feel this way about them, what could possibly happen if we never lose them and we just continue to live up to them?
Can you re-ask the question?
Yeah, so we've been hearing about how negative labels have impacted people, people in this group, and what could happen if we continue to live up to these negative labels? What could happen to ourselves or the way we feel?
You can turn up to that person. Whoa.
Go for it, guys.
Which one?
Katie and then Mia.
I think that sometimes some of the negative labels I've been called before, I have actually sometimes have turned into that label, like honestly, because it makes me realize that if everybody sees me this way, why not act this way? So there are moments when I had that, and I think I've overcome a lot of them, but there are still some in my past that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say that you don't live up to your full potential.
I agree. Like sometimes like when you hear something negative about yourself for so long, you tend to box yourself into that, and you tend to like kind of like what Katie was saying, you start to believe it. You start to believe, well, if that's what people are saying about me, if that's what the common everyone is saying, like, then that must be who I am, and therefore that's the putting myself in. So I think it can be very dangerous, unfortunately.
It definitely seems a lot easier to live up to those negative labels, and we're seeing that can be damaging and debilitating. And so I just want to say thank you guys for sharing. This is like, it can be a very serious topic, and so as we continue to go through this topic, I just want you guys to be able to continue to feel comfortable. And so also, so we're usually given these labels from other people. You know, it can be our peers, our family members, other extended relatives, or just, you know, teachers. It could be anybody. And how do you guys think it would feel if you received a negative label from somebody who you respected, somebody you lived up to? How do you guys think that would feel?
I think it makes you think about it more.
Because it kind of seems like more important coming from them, right?
I guess like going off of what Rent said, like because you care about that person, you look up to them. If they are giving you some like a negative label, like that really would just speak to you, because like that's someone you respect or like look up to and want to be like, you know, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they cut deeper when they come from people that you know well. Speaking from personal experience, like I've received labels from my family members. They cut deeper and they're not as surface level, because you know that those people that are saying that know you better than other people in the world. So someone on the street could tell you that you are this way, but when someone you know really well, or someone who knows you really well, tells you something like that, it hurts.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you guys think that any label can be torn off? Any label that's given to you, can you just tear it off?
Yes, if you work hard enough.
I'm going to kind of disagree, because the reason I say that is because sometimes, like for example, moving somewhere, everybody might see you differently, but if you went back home, everybody still sees you the same. So.
Yeah, I feel like it takes time depending on the label, and depending on how many people see you with that label, I think it'll take time to change people's minds, and how they see you or whatever. But I think you can choose not to be that label. Yeah.
I agree with Richard, and I'm going to add that it's not just the way that other people see you, it's the way that you see yourself. Because when you get a label, it becomes a mentality. And you can't just rip off a mentality, you have to overcome the mentality.
That is a really good point, Claire. Does anyone else want to share on that topic?
Yeah, I guess I just want to. Oh, sorry. I keep cutting people off. Oh, amigo. Okay, I was just gonna say I'm gonna clarify. I guess I didn't mean like you can just rip it off or like quickly like shove it off and it'll go away easily. Like you have to put in the effort, and there's things like if you want to get rid of it, then there's things you have to do, and somehow change people's mindsets or their perceptions of you.
I feel like I kind of agree with Katie in a sense that like you can't always take them off, and I think a part of it is also like accepting the labels you've been given in a way, because you can't always convince people that you're not something else, because some people just might not be able to be convinced, you know, like maybe they'll just always have, you know, that pessimistic outlook of you or whatever you've done, like, you know, because some people are stubborn. So I think a part of that is sort of like accepting like that label you've been giving, but also differentiating yourself apart from it and knowing that even though you've been labeled these things, like it's not who you are, you know, but also accepting that it's been given to you. That makes sense.
Yeah, that does. You guys have all brought up really good points, and I just want to say that typically there's two things that you can do with a label, and you know, tearing it off is one thing, and it's not always an easy process, and it's not just a quick and easy like tearing off a sticker. It's not always like that. And so it does seem like, you know, this person gave me this label, and so this is what I'm supposed to do with it. I'm supposed to wear it. I'm supposed to act like this is who I really am. And on the other hand, it's okay, so living up to the label was one of the things, and then tearing it off was another. And tearing it off takes time. And so what are, actually we're gonna do an activity. You guys all have paper and pen, right? Okay, so draw a can, and for this activity, you can make it up, or you can actually like go with like how you feel about it. So we're gonna draw a picture of a can on your paper, like a can of vegetables or something.
A soup can?
What?
Like a soup of can?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just
like a
making sure.
round silver can. And once you have done that, on the outside, write some labels you might have received from other people on the outside of the can. And then on the inside, well, let's start with that. Everybody got that so far?
Can you tell me one more time?
Yeah. So you're going to draw a can, a cylinder round.
Yeah, I have a can.
Can, okay. And then on the outside, you can just like make arrows or just write on the can things that, labels that you have been given. And then if you have done that, on the inside, write things that you feel are really true about yourself. they can be, these are some questions you can ask yourself as you're writing those things. You can ask, what do I like about myself? What are some of my accomplishments? What are some of my strengths? What are some of my goals? Okay, is everybody good so far? All right, Serena is going to go ahead and take over.
All right. Is everyone still writing or are they done?
Writing.
Can I just get a hands up when you guys are done? All right, we'll just take a couple more minutes. All right, is everyone done? Yeah, okay. Is there anyone that would be willing to share some of the things that they wrote on their can?
On the inside or on the outside, or either way?
I guess either way. We could start with the outside and then talk about what you guys wrote for your inside. And if no one's comfortable with sharing the outside, that's fine, and you can just talk about the inside.
On the outside of mine, I put loud and opinionated and some other stuff.
All right.
I guess I've been called stupid before, so, and I'm slower than most people, so it's hard for me to understand things. So I think for me, it's not about being slow. I think of it as more, I'm taking the opportunity to learn more.
Me, I put things like overachiever, fat, serious, mistake, bossy. Those are things that I get a lot.
Thank you guys for sharing. That's some really heavy stuff, and it can be really hard to talk about that. And it can be hurtful to think about those things that people have labeled us. So thank you for sharing. Before we talk about what's in the inside, how did it make you feel to write that down on the can? Did it change how you feel about the label, putting it out in front of you, or?
I think like when you think about the labels people give you, it's kind of intimidating because like it's like, well, what if it's true? Like, what if the label that they've given me, like, what if it's true? What if I live up to that?
Yeah.
And I think like writing them out and like looking at them and actually like spending some time looking at them actually gives you a chance to be like, are these real? And if they are, then what can I, if I don't want to be called this, what can I do to change it?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I think one of the things that I put, like, one of my labels is being too anxious about things. And so on the inside, I put, I'm just cautious about who I am. Like, it just, you know, I think of it as, like, I'm always seeing, like, I can't change my anxiety, but I can be, like, understanding of how I can help it. So that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like how you just kind of reframed the label that somebody has given you. You just reframed it to be something more positive. So I think that's really cool, and it's a cool way to. It's really cool to be able to see that in a different way, and I think that's important if you're going to try to change the label to do that. Does anyone else want to share what they wrote on the inside?
On the inside, I wrote educated and compassionate, because those are two things that, like, I really want to be, and I want others to, like, think of me as, I guess, like, so educated, obviously I'm working on that right now, and compassionate is just something, yeah, I'm not always the most compassionate person, so I'm just trying to work on that.
Great.
I have goody two shoe, because when I was little, a lot of people would call me that, because I often, like, didn't want to do, like, a lot of bad things and stuff. But then on the outside, I have, like, wise, because I just, a lot of times I think of the reason I was like that is because I just like to think more smartly about, like, what the choices I make and how I do things. So yeah.
All right.
On the inside of mine, I put things like hard worker, because I know that I'm a serious person. I know that I'm an overachiever. Like, there's no way to hide from that. Mm-hmm. But to me, I put that I'm an achiever. It's not that I'm an overachiever. I just, I'm an achiever. I like to do things. And I also, one thing that I put, like a parallel that I put on my can is on the outside, I put mistake, because I was technically a mistake when I was born, but I was also chosen by my parents, which is a huge thing for me. Like, just refreshing in my mind that I was not born for no reason. I was chosen by somebody. That's something that I have to repeat to myself a lot.
That's a really good way of reframing those labels that you put on the outside. Is there anything else that anyone wants to share before we move on? All right. So we are going to be wrapping up in about 7 minutes. So I don't want to get too deep into some of this other stuff and then have to cut it off. So I'll just, I guess, explain where we're gonna take, where we're gonna start next time. So this, we will be going over like 4 steps on how to get rid of our label and to, I guess, relabel ourselves the way we want. And so that's where we'll be starting next time. The first step is believing in the real you and not the label. So some things to think about before we have our next session is to think about how living up to your label has affected you in your past and what would it feel like if you were able to stop living up to that label now? And some things to think about is like, once you have stopped living up to this label, will other people notice, and what do you think that they will see? So that is what we'll be talking about next time. Just for the sake of not getting deep into this topic before we cut it off, I guess for the last 5 minutes, we could just have a little bit of a discussion about how you guys feel about this topic, and if you guys feel like it is relevant to you. So if anyone wants to comment on that.
I think we receive labels like the entire time that we're here on Earth, you know, like as soon as we are born, we're hit with a ton of labels, maybe just like about appearance or whatever. But as we grow and enter the workforce and like other things, like our labels become more complex. So learning how to overcome your labels or like think about them in a positive way is going to be beneficial to everyone throughout all of life. So.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's relevant because like in middle school, it's kind of like a prime time for labels, at least from the start. And yeah, like there's bullies and stuff, so.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like a lot of labels stick with people throughout the years from like when they've first been exposed to whatever label they've been given. So it's important to know that you're not like defined by them.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we have about 3 minutes left. Is there anything specific that maybe related to this topic that anyone would feel like they needed to talk about next time?
I guess like how to perceive yourself as other things despite what other people tell you, or like, yeah.
For sure.
I think it could be helpful to focus like, or learn how to focus on whose opinion matters, because most cases, you know, other people's opinions, they could be really negative, as we've seen, and so it would be helpful for us to learn about how to care about my opinion most.
That's great. Okay, so I guess we only have about 2.5 minutes left. So I guess we'll just start winding down, and we can, if anyone has any questions about next session or anything like that, before we go. If not, I think that we can call it good. It was great to meet you all, and it's been really fun getting to know you guys, and I'm really appreciative that you guys were so open to sharing, because some of this stuff is really heavy. And so I hope that next week we can have the same openness with each other, and that we can continue to build our trust in each other. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Enjoy meeting with you guys. We'll see you next week.
We loved it.
Good job, guys. So you can, whoever's recording can stop the recording now.